Hello everybody, welcome to the first edition of Cooking with Cesare. And today we're going to be making a strip steak with spinach. So I'm laying off the carbs and it's basically meat and vegetables. But this is a very delicious meal, it's very easy to cook, anybody can do it. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is. Okay, so let's get started. This right here is my beef. It's all wrapped up. It's a strip steak from Wegmans. It's going to be delicious. I'm going to show you now. I'm going to unwrap it. I'm going to show you exactly how beautiful it is. So just pardon me one moment. Hang out with me right here while I do this. This is going to be fantastic. Okay, so there it is. Delicious, beautiful, fresh piece of meat, nice and thick. Lay it here on my tin foil, and it's a good piece of beef. You don't have to marinate it. You don't have to put anything special on it. Salt and pepper is all that's required. So, where's my napkin? Where did it go? Hello, napkin. There it is. Anyway, so first things first, season the beef. Salt, pepper. That's it. That's all you need to know. Salt, pepper, and be generous with these seasonings. They will fall off in the pan, and you want as much of it to soak into the meat as possible. I'm going to flip the beef over and do it again. All right. Now the beef is seasoned. You let it sit there for a couple of minutes. Just so you know, I had it out of the refrigerator for about an hour before I started this process. You don't want it to be ice cold. You don't want it to be ice cold in the middle. It's going to affect how it looks and how it gets cooked in the end. So definitely want it to be even room temperature all the way throughout. And an hour sitting on your kitchen counter will definitely do that. So that's the story. So the cooking pan that we're going to use, this is a copper top pan. This type of pan is amazing, easy to clean, cooks very evenly. It's perfect. I love it. This one is by Gotham Steel. Beautiful, beautiful pan. So this is the one I'm going to use to cook the beef in. So the key here really is to take oil. You're going to need olive oil. Well, any kind of neutral oil is fine, but in this case, we're going to use olive oil. Okay, just going to a little bit in there, that. I'm going to kind of, even it out. Now you want to put your heat, on about like a medium high. So here I'm going to put it at about a 7 or so. There we go. And it's going to heat up. Now here's the real key to cooking beef properly. You do not, under any circumstances, want to put that beef into that pan before it's hot enough. And you want the pan to be certainly hot enough to sear the outside of the meat. Okay, and you accomplish that just by waiting. You have to wait till that pan gets nice and hot. And you'll know when it's ready because the oil will actually start to smoke. And when it does, that's my telltale to know that it's time for me to put that beef into the pan. So while we wait, I'll talk about the spinach. Spinach is super, super easy vegetable to cook. There's nothing to it at all. Basically, I'm going to put it in this big round pan here, just as is. And then I'm going to season it. I'm going to put a little bit of olive oil in it. And I'm going to just let it cook real slow. That's the only thing you have to do with spinach. Spinach is just simply not difficult to make. Now, but also keep in mind that a bag like this of spinach looks like a lot of spinach, but it's really not. When this cooks down, it's very little. Spinach retains a lot of water, so during the cooking process, it will lose that water and it will shrink down to the bare minimum. So I'm going to get this started. All right. We're going to put this on low, about a 2. And same thing like the beef, I'm going to take my salt and pepper shaker. just kind of all over. Give it one of those and keep it on low. And you want to cover it and just let it cook. You just basically set it and forget it when it comes to that. You don't even worry about spinach. Spinach just do its thing. As long as it's on low. If it's on too high, it's going to cook too fast. It's going to bruise it. It's going to lose all of its vitamins and minerals, and it's going to lose its flavor mainly, and it's going to be garbage. So cook it slow. Trust me. All right, now I'm going to see if that oil is ready. So look now, got a little light here. Fan for sure. Right, it's almost getting there. I can smell the oil getting hotter, but still not quite smoking yet. So I'm going to give it another minute. I really want that sear to be nice. That's the key. It's the key to making that beef delicious. See, this is just a beautiful piece of meat, and we cannot have it get cooked improperly. So we are definitely going to wait for the proper heat. And you will see that smoke. I think I'm actually starting to see it now. A little bit of smoke coming up. And you can just see the oil just moving on its own. And it's hot. It's thin. It moves much quicker. It's less viscous. And you know it's ready. Whoa. A little slippery. Okay. All right. I think it's time to put that beef in. Oh yeah, it's time. Everybody ready? Hey, let's get that beef going. Now, when I put it in the pan, you're going to hear a sizzle, a very loud sizzle. That's what you want to hear. If you don't hear that, there's a problem. Oh, you hear that? Oh boy, oh yeah. That's it. That's what's supposed to be happening in there. It's not supposed to be anything else but that. Sizzle, 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 sizzle. And you're not gonna fuck with this beef. You understand? Don't fuck with it. Just let it sit there like that. The only thing I'm doing here, taking my tongs and I'm pressing it up against the beef so that the cooking is nice and even, making sure that the bottom half that's against the pan is nice and even against the pan. You want to let it cook. This is a very thick piece of beef. This is going to take some time, so we got to let this thing cook and do its thing. There's no reason to rush this. Don't want to rush good beef. So, again, there's nothing more to it. The only thing that's going to happen when I flip this beef over is we're going to add, one final ingredient to it, and that will be butter. In this case, I'm choosing Finlandia because Finlandia is pretty damn good, and comes in a nice little block like that. Ow! Just got hit with some of the oil. That burned. And while we're sitting here waiting for the beef, I'm going to tell you about this cheese that I've been snacking on this whole time. It's a cheese called Piave. It's Italian cheese. I love it to pieces, but I don't know that everybody's going to love it. It's kind of a unique taste, but it's a hard cheese. I just love it. I mean, it's really good. Delicious. Absolutely amazing. So, the smell in here is fantastic. I'm going to tell you that. Well, sometimes people cook beef by a timer. They want to know, how many minutes on each side. I mean, it's not the same for every piece of beef. This one, like I said, is particularly thick. So it will take a little bit longer than your average steak to cook. My goal is to cook it medium rare. Any good quality piece of meat should be cooked medium rare. If you cook beef well done, you've taken the difference between a grade A piece of meat and a grade D piece of meat, and you've blurred the lines. It basically takes anything that was grade A about that meat and erases it. So if you like your meat well done, you really should stick to buying cheaper pieces of beef. Don't waste your money on a strip steak that's $13 and cook it well done, because you've just made basically like a chuck steak, and it's going to taste the same because the beef is just not the meat to be well done. Chicken, pork, absolutely. Cooked to the bone. Cannot cook that any other way. But this here beef, you got to cook it, but cook it right. Don't F it up. Well done, no good. So right now it's cooking pretty hard. We're going to take a gander at that. Oh, look at that. Just sizzling, and it's getting a beautiful, beautiful sear. I can tell you the sear on this is going to be amazing. I can't wait to turn it over and see exactly what it looks like. What we're looking for is like a very nice nut brown type color. It's going to be very dark in certain spots, and it's going to be light in others, but when you see it, you'll know. It's an amazing, amazing color. It just tells you I have been seared properly. And when you see that, it's like, ah, lovely. Absolutely lovely. So, I'm going to continue to wait on that. And I'm going to be doing things off camera that, you know, are probably things I don't want to do on camera. So you just have to sit there and listen to me for a moment. Okay, so now that that's over with, I'm going to continue to stare at my beef. Turn around. You can kind of see how the brown is kind of creeping up the middle. It's kind of telling you, you know, how the progress is going. It's still very, very rare in the middle and on top, obviously. But I think we got a nice enough sear on the bottom now that we can actually turn this beef over. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. And when we see the other side, we're going to know if I've done this correctly or if I've messed it up. Oh my God, look at that. Now that is 100,000% beautiful. That is exactly what a piece of beef is supposed to look like after it has been seared. Exactly what it's supposed to look like. I mean, if I do say so myself, pretty goddamn good sear in that motherfucker. You know, this ain't my first rodeo, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I cooked steak like this before. But that's what I'm here to show you guys. It's really not that hard. It's, you know, some people might get intimidated by a steak like this and afraid that they're going to mess it up, so they don't want to buy it. I'm telling you, it's cake. I'm doing it in front of you, live. You're seeing every step. There's nothing to it. Cake. And it's not all just a waiting game, because it's going to get fun here in a minute. We're going to add butter, and that's going to be an extraordinarily fun change to this little cooking event we got going on, because the butter adds such a flavor to this steak. It's just crazy. I mean, this beef as it is without butter, I cut it, I eat it, it's going to be delicious, right? I add the butter to it. Oh my God. Out of control. Completely nuts. Off the chain. Barbaric. Necessary. Absolutely necessary. And when you're doing a carb restricted diet, the funny thing about it is you're supposed to eat fat, because if your body's not living off carbs, it's living off fat. And if you're not giving your body the fat to utilize for energy, then you're really not feeding your body. So on this diet, this is like the perfect meal, because I'm eating protein, I'm eating fat, I'm eating everything but carbs. There's just no carbs in this meal. And there's just fat, and there's everything good. There's iron, vitamin D, and spinach is vitamin A packed. So, I mean, good for all your organs, good for everything, good for weight loss. I mean, this is a meal you just want to make. You know what I mean? You can impress the ladies with a beautiful meal and one that's healthy. They'll love you forever. You just want to do it. You want to do it. You got to cook this beef, and you got to cook it right. So I'm about to add the butter, okay? Check this shit out. So there's your butter. Boom. Nice big slab like that. See that? Fucking slab. Look at that. Boom. I'm going to take that slab, and I'm simply going to drop it into the pan. Y'all ready for that? Are you ready for that? Boom. Look at that. Look at that. Okay. What am I going to do with that? Well, what I'm going to do with it involves two hands, so I got to put it down. Unfortunately, not going to see exactly what I'm doing, but I'm going to try my best to kind of explain here. I'm going to tilt the pan, right, so that the butter sort of pools. Oh, you can't even see me. Hold on a second. I think that might be better. Okay, so, damn, you can see shit. So I'm going to take the pan and I'm going to tilt it so that the butter cools like right at the bottom here. And I'm going to take my spoon and just baste it over the meat. Just baste it right over it. I'm going to spoon it right over the meat. All that melted butter right over the meat. Just beautiful. Just let it just baste in and soak in. And then you can kind of swirl the butter around the meat. You put that pan right back on. Let it sit for a while. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Okay? But we're not quite done cooking the beef yet. Okay? So just because this side is, just about getting good, we still got to do something very, very important here. So we're going to give this about another minute. But, I mean, it's just looking absolutely amazing. I'm just like drooling over here. This is like, So, now you want to tilt the meat on its side. There's a big piece of fat right there, okay? And you want to cook that piece of fat. You definitely want that piece of fat to cook. You don't want it to be raw like that. So, you take it and just put it right on its side like that. You will have to hold it. And it's just melting that fat. You see how it's just melting into the au jus? Look at that. Beautiful. That's what you want. You want to just melt it down, get it nice. This is a big piece of fat, so I'm going to try to get all of it. That's the only real use this fat is going to have at this point, is just making a delicious basting for this beautiful piece of meat. It's important to cook the sides too like that, because you can see how it doesn't quite get cooked unless you do that. Doesn't have to be for too long, just a little bit. But both sides of this piece of beef are just unbelievable. The way they look is just fantastic. I mean, both sides are just gorgeous. You just want to do that for a second more, another second, right? And now, we're just about ready now. Well, we are ready actually. To take this beef off and just put it down. Okay? Just put it down. Don't do anything else with it. Just leave it there. Okay? The beef now needs to rest. Okay? So what that means is you don't fuck with it. You don't put it, you don't cut it, you don't slice it around, you don't jerk it around, you don't fuck with it. Because what's happened is when you cook the beef at a high heat on a metal like that, it sends the juices all over the place. And during the resting phase, it actually continues to cook. And not only that, but the juices get redistributed, making it even better when you fucking cook it. So right now, I'm going to take this piece of foil, okay? Hold on, I'll put you guys right here. Yeah. All right. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to take this tin foil, I was using before, and try not to waste it, because meat can rest okay as is, but it's way better to to cover it with a piece of tin foil. That piece of tin foil, will keep it nice and warm, and it'll keep the cooking process going, so it's not blood raw in the middle. You want it to definitely cook, so you just let it settle. Don't mess with it, don't touch it, don't do anything with it. In the meanwhile, I'm going to check my spinach over here and see how we're doing on that. Spinach is one of those things that needs very little tending to. It just basically does its thing. But every so often, though, you do have to go over to the pan that you're cooking it in, and you have to kind of stir it around a little bit. Let's see. The best thing I got in my drawer for that. Yada, 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 yada. What is all this crap? Fungal. I'm just going to use this. Fuck you. Spatula. Alright. So, I'll put you guys right now right here. Okay, so let's check this here spinach. Okay, so the spinach is still very, very uncooked. So I'm going to just... looks like I lost my flame. That sucks. So I wasn't even cooking this whole time. That's ridiculous. So now I'm going to kind of accelerate this process a little if I want to eat the spinach with the steak. So I did screw up here a little bit. But if it went on when it was supposed to go on and the flame didn't go out, I'd be okay. But the flame fucking went out, and now I'm fucked. behind schedule. All right. So we're gonna wait for all that, and I'll hit you guys up with a follow-up video to show you how the steak came out. It's gonna be absolutely amazing. I know it. It's gonna be unreal. I don't know what else to say. It's gonna be beautiful. Watch, trust me.